We do it every week on Tuesday. We call it the Herd Hierarchy. Here we go.
Herd Hierarchy.
Time is now. Let's go.
The top 10 NFL teams according to Colin. Number 10.
All right, the most disrespected pro sports franchise, the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid, this is the best in NFL history, is 15-2 following a bye. They've got a bye, so they'll win again this week. Here's the reality of this club. They've got a fairly low ceiling, but football's not about emotion. Don't be fooled. It's about habits and consistency. Andy Reid's got winning habits, so does Alex Smith. They're 10.
Number 9.
The Raiders. They're young, and they're about 3 passes from Derek Carr to being 1-4, not 4-1. But their offensive line is the second best of the Dallas Cowboys in the National Football League. And their front office has rebuilt their own line in their secondary and found Derek Carr. This is a top 10 NFL team, and despite their youth, they're good in the clutch.
Number 8.
Denver Broncos. Listen, they still lead the NFL in sacks, and that is great. There are limitations at quarterback, and I think we're going to see an erosion from this point forward. But that said, good coach, little health scare, good coach, historically good defense. They're still a top 10 team.
Number 7.
Dallas Cowboys. Now, they're going to go with Tony Romo over Dak. What does that do to the locker room? I don't love that. I would go with Tony Romo. I do realize there'll be some locker room issues. But more than anything, like the Raiders, they've got some young stars and a dominating offensive line. They lead the NFL in rushing yards. They've got the leading rusher. They lead in third down conversions. They lead in 10-plus play drives. That offensive line, not Dak and not even Romo, is the key right now to this franchise.
Number 6.
Pittsburgh Steelers. Little roller coaster for me. Belichick, Tomlin, in a one-off, I'd take Belichick. They're not as consistent as the Patriots. But touchdown passes, Big Ben's having a stellar year. He leads the NFL with 15 touchdown passes. They're ditching the Bumblebee uniforms, which I also like. But you can't deny when you watch the Steelers play on the perimeter offensively and physically up front, it's a real football team. This is a top team in the league.
Number 5.
I would have put the Philadelphia Eagles higher, but Lane Johnson, one of their offensive linemen, and a good one, has been suspended today out until Week 16. So his suspension was upheld. And they would be undefeated if Ryan Matthews did not fumble late. I love their defensive front. I know we're all paying attention to Carson Wentz. I know we do. And they do lead the NFL in time of possession. That's something. They also lead the NFL in points allowed. They're not even getting up 13 a game. Their defensive front is fantastic. Give Jim Schwartz, their defensive coordinator, give that guy credit, because I don't think they have world-class personnel across the board. They get a real pass rush.
Number 4.
It's kind of reluctant with Atlanta, but they went to Denver and won, and I said I'd reward them if they did. They lead the NFL offensively in points per game, yards per play, yards per game, passing yards per game. Matt Ryan leads in everything. Is Matt Ryan gotten that much better? Or is Dan Quinn, second year with Kyle Shanahan, offensive coordinator, got this puppy buttoned up? I think it's the latter. Atlanta at 4.
Number 3.
Seattle Seahawks, number 1 total defense. Yards per play, they're second. Pass defense, probably the best in the league along with Denver. Listen, they can be inconsistent offensively, and they're not as dominant as home as they used to be. But their division now, San Francisco's a mess. This division was the best in football 3 years ago. Now the Rams offensively are fairly weak. San Francisco's bad. The worst team in the NFC, San Francisco, bad. And Arizona doesn't look very good. This is Seattle's division to lose for the rest of the year.
Number 2.
New England. Okay, they're the most consistent team in the NFL. They had 501 total yards. Tom Brady comes back. Again, consistency, habits, efficiency. And I really think for the last 3 years, their front seven defensively has been underrated. They just keep finding young offensive linemen to plug in and protect. They got Martellus Bennett to go along with Gronk, so their tight end situation is fantastic. New England 2.
Number 1.
Minnesota Vikings. Listen, number 1 in takeaways. Number 1 in turnover differential. Number 1 in opponents' yards per play. Now, they don't run the football worth a hoot. They're last in rushing. But the New York Giants won a Super Bowl, and during the regular season one year, they were last in rushing. I think this is their division for several years. I don't think Green Bay has the dynamic players they had 4 or 5 years ago. Since Reggie McKenzie left, I don't see the drafts panning out as much. Minnesota eyeball test has the fastest defense in the NFL. They're well coached. I don't love them at kicker. I don't trust them in close games with their kicker. But Sam Bradford for a number one pick was the right move.